This is Dev Propulsion Labs, the podcast about building successful developer tools, hosted by evil Martians. Hi, this is Dev Propulsion Labs, and it's me again, Victoria Melnikova. I'm very excited to introduce today's guest. Please welcome Shanea Leven, CEO and co-founder at CodeSee. Can you give us a little intro?
It is absolutely my passion to be able to help developers. Our lives are, not the hardest, but we make things pretty hard on ourselves with the tools that we have. And it's been really, rewarding to be able to help the people who build our world at this point. It's been my absolute passion.
Let's talk about CodeSee. What inspired you to co-found CodeSee? And let me dive a little bit deeper. Throughout your career, as we heard, a very impressive one, what were the consistent challenges developers faced in understanding large code bases? How did those insights in your journey shape CodeSee?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the companies that I've worked at, the code bases were always incredibly massive. And so you never really hear, everyone being like, oh yeah, this code base is so easy to understand. Like that's not really a thing. And so what you do hear is, we don't actually know how that feature is going to work until we get in there. We don't know, this is going to take either this time or it could be this time, right? We have no idea. And then you're always like, the sales team is like, well, why can't you build that thing in 2 weeks? And we're like, because it's so complicated. And so, you don't actually hear like, okay, but why is it complicated? Because all code is like that. And so what ended up happening to me is those are just things that people say at every company, but no one ever questions it. Like, why is that a thing? And so during my time at Docker, we were trying to ship a feature, a really important feature that customers have been asking us for like 4 or 5 years. And we worked on this for 6 months, me and 10 engineers, and 2 days before the launch, there was a bug that was really critical. We were like, we have to fix this immediately. Unfortunately, Docker had gone through some employment changes, and the people that knew that area of the code base were no longer at Docker. There was no documentation, there was no anything. And it turned out we narrowed it down to this area of the code that was really critical. Like everything kind of ran through this. And we were too terrified to go and start mucking with things because we could cause like catastrophic downstream effects. And so long story short, the feature just like didn't get out the door. And that was, 6 months and 10 engineers' time completely wasted. And it was, really gut wrenching. And that wasn't like the first or the second or the third time that had ever happened. It was just the most visceral. And so after that, I started to think, why don't we understand our code? And that question, I started looking around for solutions of like, how do other people do this? And the answer is they don't. They just struggle through it. And so out of that experience, CodeSee was born.
I mean, it sounds simple enough. It's rare to see women founders, in developer tool space. And it's rare to see women founders being ambitious, to be honest, in this space. But you are reaching for the stars. Like, tell us about the partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI. And maybe you can share how did that partnership expedited your process of development, especially considering that you are, a lean team of 11, or I don't know, maybe you have grown since.
Yeah, no, we're still a lean team of 11. We found that our entire mission has always been around helping developers master code understanding. This has been what we've done since literally day one. And our partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI was not this, oh, well, we're going to, oh, this new thing popped up and we should absolutely use it. It's always been on our roadmap to add AI to the code analysis that we already do. And so we didn't go and like build this side project. We integrated the thing that we were already going to do anyway. It just made it a lot easier to be able to do it and faster. And so it was, an incredible opportunity for us to say, look, there's a lot of code complete tools out there, but what we're doing is something sort of different that allows developers to get a holistic understanding of how their code actually works in a new medium, which is combining AI asking questions and visuals together in a really unique way. So they might not actually have the language to be able to ask it questions. So they can use the visuals to support that. And then they can use questions to be able to support the visuals. It's this really empowering, incredible combination that a lot of people don't know exists. And we're really, really excited to get that out to the world.
I mean, that sounds like magic.
So people say that it is not magic. It's just good engineering.
Right.
Good engineering feels like magic when it's done right.
It's true. It's like math, I often think back about the times when I was in math classes in school, and elegant solutions would make me so excited. Like it's just something that makes a lot of sense and is wonderful.
Totally. There are always answers to things. You just like, it feels magical to the user who may not know how the sausage gets made, but it's all just the engineers doing what they do best.
How do you plan to gather and incorporate feedback during this implementation of this AI feature? Do you expect anything? Do you expect any insights or challenges?
I definitely expect users to be really honest and open with us. I expect them to help all of us as an industry, change some of the policies around AI as companies evolve. I expect that people will get the answers and tell us like, hey, this isn't working quite right. But hopefully, we empower them to be able to get to their answer faster, which is the holy grail of purposes, which is ship code faster and easier without the stress of figuring things out, without kind of banging your head against the wall. How do we dive through and peel back the layers of these literally incredibly massive code bases that we've been forced to deal with over the years? So they're not getting any simpler. And the thing that's incredibly scary is that very soon AI is just going to keep writing new code. So we haven't fixed the problems yet of humans being able to understand code that other humans have written, but we're going to have humans to understand code that AI has written. And we're trying to get ahead of that trend very, very quickly because it's going to be crazy.
As CodeSee continues to expand its offerings, what's next for you on the horizon? What are some features or integrations you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, I think I'm excited about getting more coverage over, getting more coverage over the ecosystem of tools that we all use. So our AI feature and our function level visibility is available in VS Code. But, we want to be able to get into IntelliJ, and we want to be able to get into all the places that developers are. The ecosystem is incredibly fragmented. So when you're trying to get coverage, that allows people to, you don't have access to the developers in where they are. And so I'm really excited to get this into the hands of more developers in the way that they want to. So that's really, really exciting to be able to say, yeah, this is sure, whatever way you need. we have it available.
So you have engineering background, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So having been like a VP of product and now a CEO and, having that technical background, how do you find the balance between the technical and the business aspects? Because I know that sometimes engineers get so excited about building software that they kind of let go of the business aspects. But as a CEO, you can't really, let that happen. So how do you do that?
When you don't have a technical person in leadership to kind of translate the business aspects and the technical aspects, there's a mix match in communication. And I actually am in the fortunate position to be able to speak both languages, why this is important to, the business, and also, technically why this is important, and understand, what's required to make the business happen on the technical side. And we are also pretty fortunate that our business is serving other developers, right? And so from developer to developer, we're able to use our own tools. We're able to, I'm selling to, if I can't sell to my own engineers, I'm not going to be able to sell to anybody else's, right? And so I think that for us, everything is aligned. And if it isn't in, a different business, I think trying to translate business goals down into technical aspects of things and trying to translate technical things into how this affects the business is a real skill that not everyone possesses. And if we could do that, everything would be a lot smoother.
Yeah. What have been the most significant challenges in your journey with CodeSee, and how did you navigate them?
I think that, up until you become a startup founder, if you just have jobs, etc., you're very narrowly focused in one lane, right? Yes, there are many people who kind of like jump around to different things, but they don't jump around like too far. They don't like start in engineering and maybe they go to sales, but you might have those like rare moments. Right? It's all like, oh, I started in sales and I'll go to customer success and maybe I'll go into marketing. And like, they're all kind of like connected together. As CEO, you don't have that luxury. You have to know about all the things in all the ways, and all of these things actually need to come together. And, I talk to a lot of other founders who are on kind of one end of the business or the other. And it doesn't matter where you start. You still have to be able to expand your knowledge while also, if you're starting from nothing, it's really hard to make decisions in lieu of having data, right? I think people forget how hard it is to like, oh, well, we know how to optimize based on these rules, but if you don't have any of the data at first, then you're just guessing. And so I think that that's both the data gathering and the learning and needing to make high stakes decisions all at the same time is probably been the hardest part. But you just kind of take it one step at a time.
You got to take it one step at a time. That's right.
Exactly.
I want to increase the level of abstraction a little bit, and I want to talk about kind of like higher level things.
Sure.
So as a Black female founder in the tech world, specifically in developer tools world, it's a very rare occurrence, I have to say. But I'm really hopeful because I know that your example, like you will become a role model for many, many women, across the globe. So if you were to give one piece of advice to women, to Black women who want to break into this industry and make a real impact, what advice would you give?
Build relationships with decision makers, right? So however you meet other, leaders, get into the VC market, like if you meet even principals, like who are early in their career, just meet them, take them to coffee, just get to know people, because the networks that you're a part of when you're an early stage founder, getting something off the ground is absolutely critical. And so those are the people that will help. You never know So I recommend if you're able to kind of build those relationships, whether that's starting with LinkedIn and or putting yourself in positions where you can meet people like conferences and making sure that you actually follow up with those people and building relationships is probably my best piece of advice.
That's great advice. I mean, you've touched on kind of like building certain muscles that can help you succeed, and networking, strategic networking, I would say, is really important, extremely important.
Yeah.
Especially in small niche spaces like developer tools, for example. It's not really that big, so it is extremely important to kind of know your way around the space. So coming back to CodeSee, I mean, developer tool space, though it's niche and small, it's kind of competitive. What sets CodeSee apart? How do you ensure it remains at the forefront?
Honestly, my opinion has changed a lot over the course of CodeSee's life cycle. If you'd asked me this, 3 years ago, I'm like, we're just going to build the best tools. We're just going to we're just going to do everything the best. And I actually think that a lot of dev tools out there can partner together, right? It doesn't actually have to be one or the other in a lot of ways, because a lot of dev tools build just as kind of the nature of SaaS, right? You pick one thing and you do that one thing really well. And so what you end up having is like all of these single tools that just do one thing, and you actually need a whole pipeline of things to actually do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And so we started to do, a partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI and like all of these different things that brings things together that play nice together. And so that allows a better experience for dev tools, but also a better experience for developers in general, because I don't necessarily know if it's the best way to do one thing and that's it, but it does create a fragmented experience for the developer. And so my opinion is we can do our one thing, which is getting, visibility into the code at no matter where you are, but making sure that we are able to do those connections with other dev tools.
Yeah, it's interesting how you mentioned 5 years ago, I would have said that. How about 5 years from now? Where do you think the developer tools space is heading? And how do you envision CodeSee to adapt into that space?
Yeah, I think that I can already kind of see the trends of this, which is, evolving things into platforms, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where CodeSee is evolving into a platform of connected places. And then you can, integrate other tools into CodeSee's platform. And so if you are able to build a platform that covers a multitude of different things, people will stay within your own area. And I think the platform people will win. And so that's kind of where CodeSee is evolving, being able to not just give visibility before you write code, but during writing code, after writing code, scaling across the team, giving visibility at the service level, but at the function level, all of the different types, being able to add security use cases in, and being able to add refactoring use cases in, and debugging use cases in, and connecting that with observability tools. So you really get visibility across the full stack. And that's kind of where we're hoping to go.
Sounds like a great place to be. So I like to end an episode with the question that I call warm fuzzy. And this question sounds like this. What makes you feel great about what you're doing right now?
I think when a developer's life is a little bit easier because of the thing that we built, that makes me smile. We show developers our tools every single day, 6, 7, 8 times a day. And, seeing someone's eyes light up and say, oh, I can use this for this purpose, and I can use this for that purpose. That was previously really, really hard. That sends everybody's, heart pumping with warm fuzzies all the time. It's really, really great to see people being helped kind of in front of your very eyes. So that's what it is for me.
Sounds great. Finally, I want to provide space for you to give a call to action to our audience. What would you like our listeners to do?
I would love feedback on our tools. We're constantly, really evolving the platform to be able to help people get visibility across all areas of their code bases. And so if you just go to CodeSee.io and reach out to us, we'd love to help, get your developers better onboarding if they're moving different areas of the code. Unfortunately, a lot of teams are going through team changes right now that are going to have to support more code than they expected to. And we can help ease that burden on people. If they're trying to go through a refactor to make things easier, we can also help them that burden. And so if you need the support, we're really quick and easy to get installed and really, really valuable for your day-to-day life.
Sounds great. Thank you for being here today with me. It was a pleasure, and I'm confident that many listeners will get inspired and, create some cool new tool.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for catching yet another episode of Dev Propulsion Labs. We at Evil Martians transform growth stage startups into unicorns, build developer tools, and create open source products. If your developer tool needs help with product design, development, or SRE, visit evilmartians.com/devtools. See you in the next.